Talking with Jerry.
So please like and subscribe, like and subscribe. We're going to talk about the recent runoff election, but mainly I want to emphasize some comments I've seen some of the black male podcasters make in regards to them voting Republican or actually being Republican, and some of the issues I have with that. And it's just a different take on things. It's going to be short, to the point, and I think you're going to find it interesting. So let's go. We're going to discuss some of the black podcasters who are voting Republican, proud to be Republican, and shouting out to the community why they vote Republicans, and I want to take that on. I don't speak for the Democratic Party. These are just my views based on facts, based on history. I think you'll find them interesting. So, as I mentioned, lately I've seen several black male podcasters saying that they're Republicans. They're saying that due to the way some of our major cities are being run, they're asking questions such as, well, what has the Democratic Party done lately for black people, which is ridiculous. And these are two of the talking points that they use. So let's look at why they are actually dead wrong. Republicans in the last election ran on high gas prices, they ran on crime, they ran on inflation, but yet they had no solution for any of these issues. No solutions at all. They didn't offer any. And if you look at the current runoff for full control of the U.S. Senate, so it won't be a tie that has to be broken up by Kamala Harris between Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock, I want you to listen to one of Herschel Walker's spokespersons who is talking about why he should, meaning Herschel Walker, be in the U.S. Senate. But yet he offers no solution. So let's listen to that, and then I'll come right back with comments.
Ex-wife, you can look at the 911 video, they're saying that he's a phony.
I don't think you want to get.
So I don't.
I know.
What I'm saying this, but is that we need people who actually think about what is best for our state, and that aren't just simply trying to kowtow to a failed president that we have in the White House right now.
So, you've heard once again these talking points, but the fact of the matter is gas prices have been going down a lot every week. Food prices, though high, are starting to go down. In terms of overall inflation, things are starting to stabilize, though the Fed has recently raised interest rates to try to get control of inflation. The jobs reports are just through the roof. I mean, the jobs report that came out just last week mentioned that there are 2 jobs for every person that wants to work. 2 jobs. I can remember when I was growing up in college, coming out of college, how difficult it was in a large city like New York to find jobs, where the city was laying people off. I was laid off twice when I was an employee for the city of New York. But I remember going to take the test for state trooper, and they only had 150 openings. And when I walked into the gymnasium at City College of New York, there were 3,000 people just at that location to take that test. And there were only going to be 150 job openings perhaps over the next 2 years. So we've got a booming economy, and that's something that I think anybody that's in the workforce or has friends that were out of work that are now working, we should be thankful for. But what are Republicans actually going to do now that they have the House at least? Well, look at what they ran on, which I just talked about, but look at what they're doing. They're going to do an investigation of Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son. For what? He's a private citizen. And what they're alleging is preposterous. Who cares what he has on his laptop that he had a drug problem? So what? They want to investigate the pullout from Afghanistan. Now, the pullout was only over a couple of days. But before the couple of days, the 20 years that we were there, we spent $1 trillion. Most of it wasted, given away to contractors who were friends of Republican administrations in Washington, D.C. Money that if you went in and looked at by line, is insane. Starting to help the Afghans set up a business to have mohair as a revenue stream from animals that they could then sell on the market. And the Defense Department spent millions of dollars wasted and nothing happened. Building bases that were never used. Hiring warlords who were supposed to protect the roads and the bridges that we were building in their country while our roads and bridges were falling apart. And yet these same people would go and blow up the roads and bridges with the money we gave them. So we would have to give them more money. We wasted $1 trillion. And what did we get? No, they're not going to investigate that. They're going to investigate the last few days that we were there that Joe Biden decided to pull the plug. Thank God. And if you look at history, those of you that are into history, during the Vietnam War, we did the same thing. We decided to cut the money. Gerald Ford was president. Congress said, we're not giving another dime for this fiasco. We've been there over a decade and we're pulling out. And despite pleas from the South Vietnamese army to help, we decided to have our troops go, and the South Vietnamese people were running at the airport. There were helicopters bringing people. People were flooding the U.S. Embassy. We've seen this movie before. So they want to investigate what? Just stupidity. They say they want to impeach Joe Biden. Now, how stupid can you be? For what? And if they impeach him, Kamala Harris becomes the president. Oh, they're really going to go crazy then. A black woman president? Well, they'll impeach her. And then if she gets impeached, Hakeem Jeffries, who, is the Democratic minority leader, he'll be able at some point to move up by the time, if Joe Biden runs again and he's head of the Congress, he can then step in because he'll be Speaker of the House. So they are just all over the place. They have no plans to do anything with gas prices, food prices, crime, anything. Some of the black podcasters will say, well, what has Joe Biden done, even significantly in terms of symbolism? Well, we have a black woman vice president. Okay, she's part Indian, but she's a black woman. 20, 30 years ago, that was unheard of. We have a black woman on the Supreme Court. A black woman on the Supreme Court, and she's a progressive. We have a black woman who is the White House spokesperson. We have the Juneteenth holiday. We have hundreds and hundreds of federal black judges who've been appointed. And in many of the contracts that have been given out, those contracts require, under the Build Back Better bill and the Inflation Reduction Act, that minority contractors be hired to be given a piece of those multi-billion-dollar contracts. So those are just some of the things. But now to compare and contrast again with Republicans, what are they doing? They want to end and sunset Social Security. Totally ridiculous. They want to get rid of Medicare. Totally ridiculous. They're banning books based on critical race theory, CRT, which is not even being taught in school. And in certain states, because of their idiocy of using this talking point, I'll give you an example. In the state of Virginia, they're proposing that children in grades younger than 6th grade can't even learn anything about Martin Luther King. So they're taking the books out of the school, banning discussions on topics. That's what Republicans are doing. And in one state, they can't even mention the Martin Luther King holiday to kindergartners or first graders. They're ending affirmative action. And I can go on and on. So all of the progress that black people made in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, it's Republicans who are taking these things that were put into law or opportunities put in place, whether it was by private companies, to try to make amends or rectify some of the ills done to black people over 400 years and give us an equal opportunity. Even putting in place laws to protect us in things like voting rights, which again, the Republicans are taking away under the guise of there's illegal voting going on, which we know has not happened. So for some of you black podcasters, some who I admire, by the way, you guys really need to get off of this talking point of, Democrats, what have they done? We know the Republicans haven't done anything. They're not proposing anything. And all the things that they are doing nothing but hurting African Americans, your own loved ones, your own kin, your parents, your grandparents, your nephews and nieces that are left in the community or wherever they are, where you can sit high on a hill and say, well, I don't see anything being done. They're benefiting every day. And by the way, something else that a lot of people benefit from, Joe Biden just approved a raise in Social Security, the largest ever, where the average Social Security recipient will be getting $150 more per month. So there's a lot that's being done, all positive, not negative. And I think you need to take a look at that. So that's my wrap up post-election. And hopefully things will get better, moving the country forward, not backwards. We don't want to make America great again. We want to make America stand up for what it said it was going to stand up for on the day that the 13 colonies decided to become a nation. Thank you for watching.